We're continuing our discussion about designing presentations for the classroom or for professional development and looking at ways to simplify your design, get things together where you have a limited amount of text that does not distract from what you're trying to say to your audience. And so we're going to look at the specific element of slide design in this video. So if you want to grab a cup of coffee and sit back, we'll try not to take up too much of your time. One of the things that you will see in PowerPoint, Keynote, other kinds of programs, this is the basic design of a slide. You've got a header at the top, you've got a place to put your bullet points of text. Unfortunately, what happens is the bullet points that are supposed to be just that, bullet points, 2 or 3 words to condense what you're saying, turns into paragraphs of text that we expect people to read on the screen. And we're trying to do away with that. So if you can use something like this and use it in a way that only has just those few words to highlight your text that are indeed bullets, that's all fine and good. But there are other ways to look at this. We're also going to look at this as a possibility where we have 2 lines of bullets, or we might have a picture in one square and bullet points in the other. And you'll see that the screen is divided in half. It's very symmetrical, very industrial, if you would. We want to look at a different way to design slides. So we're going to talk about the rule of thirds. And the rule of thirds is this idea in photography and in videography that our eyes are drawn specifically to various portions of a screen. And so if we lay this out in a tic-tac-toe board, you'll see we have 3 vertical sections and 3 horizontal sections. That's the rule of thirds. And so typically we look at placing someone or something along one vertical line or along the other vertical line, or we might put a horizon along one horizontal line or the other horizontal line at the top. And if you're looking at images of people, you might see where lines intersect generally come into the area of the face. I want to show you what this looks like in a short video clip. So let's take just a quick look at this and then we'll be back on the flip side. When we talk about the rule of thirds, think about what you see in a television show or especially in a movie. When they're talking with, or they're showing people on the screen, generally they're looking toward the space of the screen that's widest away from them. We call this the rule of thirds. We put somebody in this 1/3 bracket over here on this side of the screen. And if we were to divide the screen into a tic-tac-toe board, you would probably find that one of the vertical lines would go almost directly through me. And if I had taken the time to get this squared up right, one of the horizontal lines would probably come right here so that it would cross somewhere here. Now I can do the same thing by moving to the other side of the screen. So when we're having an image this far away, that rule of thirds applies. Where it doesn't apply is when we do a close-up. A close-up of someone's face usually winds up in the center of the screen. The other thing that winds up in the center of the screen generally is text. Text will generally be centered from top to bottom and from left to right in some form or fashion. Always rules are broken, but that's typically what happens. So we're going to look at this rule of thirds and how that applies to creating your slide design to make what's on the screen most appealing to your students or to your audience. Now what I've done here is I've taken an image that is in portrait mode, which means that it's taller than it is wide, and I've placed it along one side of the screen. Now this could be done with pretty much any vertical portrait mode image placed on one side or the other, and you take up 1/3 of the screen. And that leaves the 2/3 section for your text. Now, in the video that you just saw, you know text usually winds up in the center. So I'm going to place the text here. in the center horizontally, and it's also centered vertically vertically within the space. I had to think about horizontal and vertical there for a minute. And if you look at the rule of thirds, it looks sort of like this. We've got this image over here on one side in this third vertical, and then we've got the text centered. And it's more appealing to the eye to draw us into something that resembles this type of design. And it's very easy then to just keep that picture on every slide and put your text where you want it and just continue to move from slide to slide, and everything is very appealing aesthetically to the eye. Now, the other way we can go is to put a picture in where we are looking at the horizontal line, something like this. So if we have a picture like this, you will see this is where your text would go. Now, if you'll notice, I have 10 words of text. So to give you some idea of what this looks like, and I've put these, this is in Google Presentation, and this is a 30-point font to sort of give you an idea of how big it might be. And when we look at the rule of thirds again, you'll see I have the image in the top 2/3, and I have the text in the bottom 1/3. I could have just as easily done it differently and put the text in the 2/3 section, but just to give you an idea of what this looks like in the rule of thirds. So one way vertically, one way horizontally, and then you can also find pictures that are sort of like this, where the picture takes up the entire screen, but there is this area available for text. And so if I put the text in here, and now it's no longer centered, I have it justified to the right, then when I lay over my vertical, you'll see that I have the text centered on that top horizontal line. And again, it gives me just some sort of view with the eye naturally drawn into these symmetrical shapes that we like to see in images and pictures. So that's just a brief overview of a very quick way to make your own templates and do something a little different than what PowerPoint or Keynote or some of these others would give you, to lay out your slides in a way that is aesthetically appealing, very simple, almost elegant, and limited text, so that, again, students are hearing you and engaging with you, and the image is just up there to sort of spark their attention from time to time. And you can give them the information that you need to give them. So I hope that you will think about that the next time you start to put a presentation together. And then I would really love to hear your comments in the section below this video. Until next time, keep enjoying the coffee, and we'll catch you on the next DENVice.